Man, Eagles Nation, what a week it's been. Every time you think things are gonna calm down, something new hits the fan. So, let's get straight into it because there's a lot to unpack about A.J. Brown, Jalen Hurts, and the whole vibe around this team right now. First off, A.J. Brown has been out here defending Jalen Hurts again. And honestly, I respect that. You can feel the frustration, not just from A.J., but from a lot of guys who know how much better this offense can be. But while the media keeps circling around the same drama, the real story isn't just about what's being said off the field, it's about what's happening on it because, let's be real, the biggest issue with this team right now isn't A.J., isn't Jalen. It's the offensive line. Now, before diving into the A.J. Brown and media situation, let's talk about this upcoming matchup. Jalen said it perfectly in his press conference. It's all about focus. The Eagles got the Detroit Lions coming into town. And this isn't some easy week. Detroit's been waiting for this one. They've been circling this game on their calendar since last season. They're physical. They're fast. And even though they've got a few key players banged up, guys like Penei Sewell, Terrion Arnold, and Aidan Hutchinson, this team still brings it. They've got weapons everywhere. And if the Eagles don't come in locked in, this could easily turn into one of those trap games that everyone regrets later. But here's the thing. Philly's finally getting close to full health. You've got A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith, Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley, all ready to go. There's no excuse not to take advantage of a team that's limping a bit. This could be the win that sets the tone for the rest of the season. And with all the T-breakers already leaning in the Eagles' favor, Tampa Bay, Green Bay, even the Rams, this matchup could decide who ends up with that #1 seed in the NFC. Yet, despite all that, the conversation isn't about Detroit. It's about A.J. Brown and what he said, or didn't say, in some Twitch stream. Like, come on, A.J.'s been catching fire from every direction lately. Reporters keep pressing him, trying to turn every quote into a headline, and honestly, you can tell he's tired of it. He said it himself. He's not out here trying to throw anyone under the bus. He was venting, laughing through the frustration, trying to deal with how tough things have been for the offense, and that's fair. When a guy like A.J. Brown, who's used to dominating, feels like his impact isn't where it should be, of course emotions are gonna spill out, but when he said he's not apologizing for being real, that was him drawing a line. He's saying, I care, I want to win, I want us to be better. The problem is, that honesty gets twisted into drama every time A.J. speaks. The headlines make it sound like he's turning on Hurts or going rogue. But when you actually listen to what he's saying, it's the complete opposite. He's standing up for his quarterback. He's saying Jalen's got too much on his plate, too much pressure in his face, and that this offense has to pick up its slack instead of relying on the defense to bail them out week after week. That's not beef. That's leadership. It's frustration rooted in wanting to win. Now, here's where it gets interesting. When A.J. was asked about those plays where he's wide open and doesn't get the ball, he didn't point fingers. He didn't blame Jalen. Instead, he explained it like a pro. Every play has its reads, and people love to take screenshots showing who's open. But that's not how football works. When a quarterback has defenders in his face, you can't expect him to go through for reads in 3 seconds. That's where the real problem starts showing, the play calling. And look, I said it before, and I'll say it again, the offensive scheme this year just doesn't look right. The routes don't complement each other, the rhythm's off. And it feels like the offensive coordinator doesn't really know how to maximize A.J. Brown's strengths. You've got one of the most dominant wide receivers in the league, and somehow he's becoming a decoy half the time. That's not on Jalen, that's on the play design. It's like giving a Ferrari to a rookie driver and expecting them not to crash. The sad part is, this isn't a rebuild team, this is a championship roster. You've got veterans who've been to the Super Bowl, guys who know how to win. And yet management decided this was the season to experiment with a new offensive coordinator who's never called plays at this level. It just doesn't make sense. When you've got a Super Bowl window, you don't hand over the keys to someone learning on the job. You bring in experience, not potential. Even Nick Sirianni's starting to lose patience with all the questions about A.J. Brown. Reporters keep asking him about the drama, and you can see it in his face. He's tired of it. He basically said, look, A.J.'s working hard. He's part of the game plan, and we're moving on. But the problem is, the noise won't go away until this offense starts performing like it's supposed to. The moment the offense starts clicking again, All this talk disappears. What I actually like, though, is that through all this mess, AJ and Yelen still seem connected. If there really was bad blood, you wouldn't see them celebrating together after big plays. You wouldn't see AJ defending Yelen in the media. That tells me whatever's happening, it's not personal between those two. The issue's bigger. It's systemic. It's about how this offense is being run, and maybe AJ speaking out is what finally forces some change. Because when you look at the film, it's not just the play calling, it's the offensive line, too. Man, that unit just hasn't been the same this year. Injuries have torn it apart. Tyler Steen, Lane Johnson, Landon Dickerson, Kem Jurgens, all dealing with something, and even Jordan Mailata, the only one who's mostly healthy, hasn't been at his usual dominant level. When the foundation breaks down, everything else follows. Yelen doesn't have the same time in the pocket. The reads get rushed. The timing with AJ and Devonta gets thrown off, and then the fans start wondering why the offense looks stuck. That's why when AJ said what he said about not being able to just slap a bandage over the problems, he was spot on. You can't keep pretending everything's fine just because the defense is saving the day eventually. That catches up to you if the offense doesn't figure it out now. It'll hurt them when it matters most, in the playoffs. So yeah, the frustration makes sense. You've got a top-tier roster, a team built to win now, but you're watching miscommunication, questionable play design, and constant pressure-wrecked drives. AJ's not complaining for attention. He's pushing for accountability, and maybe that's exactly what this team needs. Because if they don't fix the offensive line, if they don't start scheming their best players open, and if they don't protect Yelen long enough for him to make those reads, it won't matter how much talent they have on paper right now. The Eagles are still one of the best teams in the league. But the cracks are starting to show, and the way they handle this stretch, how they respond to the noise, how they adjust to adversity, that's what's going to define their season. The Lions are coming in hungry, the spotlight's on, and it's time to see if this offense can finally back up the talk. And here's the thing about all this noise surrounding the Eagles right now. It's not just about bad play calls or missed throws, it's about identity. This team used to be known for dominance in the trenches, for breaking opponents' will with that offensive line, for dictating tempo from the first drive to the final whistle, but lately, that identity feels like it's slipping. You look at Jalen Hurts and you can tell he's trying to stay composed, trying to lead the way he always does. But when the pocket collapses before he can even make his second read, it's hard to run an offense with rhythm. The chemistry is there, the weapons are there, but the execution has been inconsistent. What's wild is that the locker room energy still seems solid. You don't hear about players turning on each other. You hear about frustration, sure, but it's competitive frustration, the kind that comes when you know you're capable of more. That's what AJ Brown's been showing. He's not throwing anyone under the bus. He's holding himself and his teammates accountable. That's leadership. He's saying what a lot of fans have been thinking. This offense is too talented to look this flat. They can't keep relying on the defense to carry them every week. You think back to last season, how everything clicked so easily. The timing between Hurts and Brown was perfect. The play designs gave everyone space to operate, and the offensive line was bullying people. Fast forward to now, and it feels like they've lost that rhythm. Defenses have adjusted, but it doesn't look like the Eagles have adapted back. That's why AJ's comments hit so hard. He's not saying he's unhappy being in Philly. He's saying he's unhappy with complacency. He's watching an offense that should be evolving, but instead looks stuck running the same predictable sets. And then you've got Nick Sirianni caught in the middle of it all. Every press conference turns into another round of questions about AJ Brown's feelings or Jalen Hurts' leadership, and you can tell he's over it. You can see it in his face. He's frustrated, but not at his players, at the narrative. He wants to focus on football, but the media keeps stirring up distractions, and honestly, that's fair. But here's the reality. Distractions only exist when a team isn't performing to expectations. If this offense was lighting up the scoreboard like last year, no one would care about what AJ said on Twitch or what Jalen said in a presser. Winning fixes everything, but until that happens, every little thing gets magnified. Every quote becomes a story. Every sideline conversation becomes a headline. And that pressure can break a team if the leadership isn't strong. The good news for Philly is that their core, Hurts, Brown, Smith, Barkley, Kels, and Graham, they've all been through this before. They know what it's like to be under the microscope. That's why I think this storm might actually pull them closer. Sometimes teams need a little adversity to wake them up still. The one issue that can't be ignored is that offensive line. Man, that unit is the heart and soul of this team, and right now it's bruised up. You can see it in every game. Hurts has less time, the run game isn't as explosive, and those inside gaps are getting blown open. When you've got half your line on the injury report week after week, it's tough to maintain consistency, but that's also where coaching adjustments come in. You've got to help your line out with quicker passes, designed rollouts, misdirection plays, things that get the defense off balance. The problem is, we're not seeing enough of that creativity. Right now, it feels like the play calling is on autopilot, and it's not just about calling deep shots or short slants. It's about knowing how to use your stars effectively. A.J. Brown should never go an entire half without being involved. Devonta Smith should have design looks every drive. Saquon Barkley, one of the most dynamic playmakers in the league, should be more than a safety valve. You can tell the scheme isn't flowing because the offense feels reactionary, like they're waiting to see what the defense gives them instead of attacking with confidence. That's the biggest difference between this year and the Super Bowl run. Back then, the Eagles dictated games. Now, they're responding to them. When A.J. Brown said he's tired of seeing bandages over the same problems, he was speaking for everyone. This team can't keep patching things up and hoping they'll hold. They've got to address the real issues, and it's not about chemistry. It's about structure. It's about how the offense is being built around its strengths. You can't ask Jalen Hurts to be Superman every week. When he's getting hit before his receivers even finish their routes, the man's been doing his best. But no quarterback can thrive under constant pressure. At the same time, I get AJ's frustration spilling out the way it does. He's emotional, but it comes from passion. He knows how much this offense can dominate when it's running smoothly, and maybe, just maybe, his outspokenness will light a fire under the coaching staff to make real changes. Because the truth is, this team is still in a great position, one of the top records in the NFC, multiple tie-breakers in hand, and a chance to control their own destiny. But if they don't fix these cracks soon, those small issues could turn into big problems down the stretch. So, going into this matchup with Detroit, this is more than just another regular season game. It's a test of focus. Can the Eagles shut out the noise? Can they come out and make a statement that they're still one of the most dangerous teams in football? The Lions are going to come in swinging. You know Dan Campbell's got his guys ready to go. They've been waiting for a shot like this. But if the Eagles find that old fire, that edge that made them great, this could be the game that flips the narrative. FlyEaglesFly News family, smash subscribe and hit like. Your support keeps the freshest Philadelphia Eagles updates flying in. Drop your take in the comments and let's talk birds. Whispers are growing louder around the Philadelphia Eagles locker room, and they all point toward one shocking storyline. Jalen Hurts, the team's usually composed and stoic leader, is reportedly furious, and the target of his frustration might just be head coach Nick Sirianni. According to sources close to the team, a tense exchange between Hurts and Sirianni took place behind closed doors, leaving several players stunned. The franchise quarterback, known for his calm demeanor and team-first mentality, allegedly delivered a strong message to the coach, challenging decisions that have left the locker room divided. Some insiders have described the atmosphere as unusually cold between the two, a stark contrast to the harmony that once defined their partnership. The root of the tension remains unclear, but speculation points to disagreements over offensive schemes and Hurts' role in recent game plans. The Eagles' attack has appeared disjointed at times, and those close to the situation claim Hurts has grown increasingly frustrated with the lack of rhythm and consistency. He's not happy, and he's letting people know, said one anonymous staffer. While team representatives have denied any internal conflict, the silence from both Hurts and Sirianni has only fueled the rumors. The quarterback's brief, cryptic comments to reporters, emphasizing accountability and communication, have done little to calm the storm. Meanwhile, Sirianni's insistence that everything's fine has been met with skepticism by fans and analysts alike. Inside the NovaCare complex, players are reportedly walking on eggshells, unsure of how to navigate the growing tension between their leader under center and the man calling the shots from the sideline. Whether this is a temporary flare-up or the beginning of a deeper rift remains to be seen. One thing is certain, Philadelphia is buzzing. The relationship between Jalen Hurts and Nick Sirianni, once the foundation of the Eagles' resurgence, now faces its biggest test yet, and the entire NFL is watching to see how it unfolds. That's a wrap from FlyEaglesFly News. If you want the fastest Eagles updates, subscribe, drop a like, and turn on the bell. Sound off in the comments. Let's talk birds.